Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spurs Up. As always, alongside Matt Bumbaka, I'm Jack Taylor, and this week we have a very special guest, Carlton Thompson, more fondly known around campus as Gamecock Jesus. You can see Gamecock Jesus at pretty much all the basketball games, baseball games, whatever else he can get out to. Volleyball, anything that you can get his hands on. So Carlton, thank you so much for coming on today. And to start off, just tell us a little bit about your relationship with the university, you know, when you graduated and what kind of brought Gamecock Jesus about.
Well, I first fell in love with the university back when I was in high school in Branchville as a sophomore. My brother was a freshman at Carolina, and that's when Frank McGuire was here with a very good basketball program. And so the students had to camp out for days sometimes to get the student tickets. And so my brother camped out and told me to come on up. We have games for the ticket. The brand new Carolina Coliseum was opening up that night. And I went to that. We sat on the second row right down there on the floor, and I just loved it. And I just fell in love with everything that night. I've been Gamecock ever since.
Now, the origin of the name, how did Gamecock Jesus come about?
Well, actually, the pep band started calling me Jesus a long time ago, back in the 80s, I guess. And they would play the Superstar Fanfare, and I'd stand up as Jesus. But my whole thing has always been to get the crowd involved, especially the students, because you can actually help win the game and create that atmosphere to win the game. So I've always tried to be down there and was always down on the baseline. So they started calling me Baseline Jesus for some reason. And as I went to other sports and other games, people started calling me Gamecock Jesus. And it's just been that way ever since.
And you see there's so many different pieces to your you know, your whole outfit that you wear every time. So tell us a little bit about, you know, how it all kind of came together. If it started, you know, kind of compiled it all, or if you added more and more pieces over time, you know, with the shoes.
Well, I kind of go with what works,
okay.
what helps win the game. This Believe shirt started back in 2000 when the cheerleaders gave them out to the fans, and I kept mine because it really, I really thought it was good, and so it got faded and faded, but I kept doing my thing and getting the crowds involved and winning games. So the fella down at Graffiti store down in Rosewood that makes these shirts, he made me some more. So I've had Believe shirts to give out to other people.
Okay.
And then the yellow Crocs, that's my cocky feet. And Cocky knows if he ever falls off this perch, I'm up there to lead the crowd.
You're ready to take one for the team.
Yeah, and I just started wearing the bandana one year when they gave out bandanas at one of the games, and that just became part of my
And it's stuck.
thing.
Now, you've been to over hundreds of games so far.
Absolutely.
Is there one game that sticks out in particular? Do you have a favorite Gamecock game that you've been to?
There are so many favorites. That very first game had such a big impression on me because I remember walking into the Coliseum that night and it was brand new and it smelled like a brand new car with all the new upholstery seats and everything. Really, that's in my memory so much. But then there have been so many games that we've, like back in '98 when the guys basketball ended up winning the SEC conference that year. We started out really, really poor. We were 5-5 before the conference even started. We had lost some really small games early on, and so the crowds were getting a little bit anxious. But once the conference started, we went 15-1, or I think 15. Our only loss was at Georgia.
Of course.
That's the year we beat Kentucky here.
Okay.
The first time. And Dick Vitale was here. It was a big, the students were really into it that time. And it went into overtime. I remember that game really well. I was so calm. I just knew we were going to win that game. Even though it went into overtime, and then we got 8 points behind in overtime. It was down to 2 minutes left, and we were still 8 points behind. But I was just as calm. I knew we were going to win. I don't know how I knew, but I knew we were going to win, and we did.
Now, what is calm for Gamecock Jesus? Because if anyone who's in the stands sees you're running up and down, you're jumping up and down, and you're really keeping the energy alive in the student section.
I don't know, because it's rare that I feel that calmness, but it happened then. It just happens sometimes.
Now, recently, you were able to go to Phoenix with the team when they went to the Final Four. Could you talk about that experience and what it was like being out in Phoenix?
Yeah, well, as it built up, remember they had the tournament here in Greenville.
Yes.
So everybody was really into it. We had finally made it back to the tournament after having not been there for about 20 years or so. And so everybody was really into it, and we had a great team, and it had evolved into a really good championship team. So the crowds were there, and when we went
to the Garden up in New York to play
yeah,
Baylor.
but I didn't go to the New York trip.
Okay.
But I was going on campus. We were going the Salty Nut and Village Idiot Pizza to watch the games with all the students. It was just so much fun. We were carrying on, and at the end of that I think it was the Florida game.
The Florida game, been to the Final Four, yes sir.
We were up at the Salty Nut, watching that game, and then all of a sudden we heard at the end of the game, this roar coming out of 5 Points. So I ran up there to be with the students up there in the fountain and everything, and it was so crazy. After a couple of hours, I made it back to Salty Dog, and that's when they told me that they had started Mike Murdaugh had started a
GoFundMe
account by the students, and within days, it was up to thousands of dollars just
poured in. Yeah.
So I took both my sons and my good friend, and we had a great time. And it was so great being out there because all the students were out there, and they almost carried me in the stadium. It was a lot of fun. And we came so close. We came so close.
Oh yeah.
Had we been full speed, we'd have won.
You only got to wonder what if Sindarius hadn't had the flu that next or for that game.
Yeah.
But and transitioning into these past couple years, you've kind of seen a bit of a decline in that fan participation, just because there's been a little bit of.
Well, it comes and goes. When Don Staley came and really built the women's program, that has really helped. At the same time, the women's soccer is doing real well, and the baseball team has done so well, and now it's rebuilding. So I think it's just a continuous cycle. I think we're in good shape.
And that kind of keeps you motivated to keep the fans motivated for that, because that you talk about how important they are to the team.
Yeah, and it's so important that all the students from the different programs are coming to support the other programs, and I think that is really helpful.
That is great. Now, you really are a true fanatic, and what is it like getting the entire stadium, giving that energy?
Oh, it's just, I just feed off of it. I mean, it's so huge, and I just love it.
It's great that you
like
even
being
provide
an entire different element.
Yeah.
It's more of a mutual thing, kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
And you can definitely see.
And you can see the players feed off the crowd. And if the crowd feeds off me, that's fine too. I mean, it all helps to bring it about.
So, well, we love having you doing that, and we love seeing you go out there as much as you can. How much longer do you think you can keep this energy up?
Oh, I don't know, forever. I can't imagine not doing it.
Really?
That's right.
Well,
amazing.
That's all we have here in the studio today. Thank you again so much, Carlton, for coming on. And until next time,
But I do want to tell the students to please come to the games. Please come help us win, because you'll see.
That's what it's all about, being a true fan.
It works.
And you heard it here first. Not a begging, but just a rally cry for the fans to keep these teams motivated and to keep them, keep the fans and the team in the games.
That's
And
right.
if the fans will come and be part of it and help win, then they can own it. As Don Staley says, we own it, and then it's ours.
It's always good to believe, right?
Yes, always believe.
Well, again, Gamecock Jesus, as your alter ego is. Thank you again so much for coming on. And until next time, South Carolina,
Spurs up.
Spurs up.